Hey friends, gosh, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I don't know what to say. I'm completely blown away from the love and the support and everything. And this topic, it's not easy. Talking about racism is uncomfortable. I know that, you know that, we know that. But just to support all the love that I'm getting so far, man, it's just amazing. And honestly, it allows me to just be encouraged that this conversation is okay to have, and that we will reach a point, not just with me, hopefully I can play a part, but with a racial reconciliation and being on the same page and being able to understand each other, work together, love one another, and just be a part of each other's lives. So with that being said, I do want to jump into today. In order to have a conversation about race, we have to talk about, well, what is racism? Sometimes we can have the idea to think that racism is the N-word, right? Wearing a white hood, being part of the KKK. Oh, if you're being racist, then you're obviously a part of the KKK. That's not true at all. We see different areas of racism, and a lot of times, me included, didn't even know that these things were racist. To be honest with you, I said some of them too. We're all learning. And yeah, let's get into it. What is racism? What is it? I mean, there's so many things out there in the world, the media, that tell us what racism is. And I believe in order to conquer this hard topic, we have to know what it is. What in the world is racism? So we're gonna cover that today. Two different types of racism. There's overt racism and there's covert racism. And I know you're like, what is that? I'm gonna help us walk through that today. If you enjoy it or if you're learning something from this video, please go ahead and share it, and yeah, let's go. So pretty much what overt racism is socially unacceptable racism. The KKK, the N-word is overtly racist. Racial slurs are overtly racist. Burning crosses, obvious racist jokes, those things are overtly racist. They're not acceptable. Like, if you see someone, the KKK, coming down the street, like, you're gonna be like, hold on, what is happening here? If you hear somebody say the N-word, then you're gonna be like, wait a minute, no, we don't do that, right? Those are things that are socially unacceptable. We can look at it across the board and say, these are morally wrong, because we know that these things are racist. See something that is racist or racially charging, those would be the things that would probably jump out at you. But what are the subtle things? What's the subtle racism that we may not see, or that we see and we just don't know that is racism? So what does that look like? I know for me, I can tell you guys stories. So this is a difficult story. Not really, but kind of. So when I was in high school, I had friends, obviously, duh, a lot of us have friends in high school, but I had friends in high school, and I played basketball, and I did, the senior thing, powder puff, all that fun stuff. My nickname in high school was Oreo. And what Oreo meant, if you know what an Oreo looks like, I think I have an Oreo. I'll show you. Yes, I have Oreos at all times. But anyway, Oreo. This is my nickname, Oreo. I'll give you one guess why. If you take an Oreo out, which reminds me, I need more Oreos. If you take an Oreo out, these are Oreo thins, so I can eat more of them and not feel as guilty. But it's white on the inside and black on the outside. And I went along with it. I called myself Oreo. My shirt said Oreo, my powder puff shirt. I was Oreo. That was my nickname. And the reason that was my nickname was because people were saying, I was saying, I don't act black. Like, what is that? What is acting black? That doesn't even make sense. We have in our minds what a black person is supposed to act like and what a white person is supposed to act like. It's so easy, and society tells us, hey, if you talk a certain way, if you dress a certain way, if you act a certain way, you're this color. If you like Hollister or American Eagle or Watch Friends. I watch Friends. I like Friends. If you do these things, then you're white. And then it's like, if you wear baggy jeans, if you wear do-rags, if you like rap music or talk a certain way, you know, then you act black. Like, think about that. We have this in our minds of what this is supposed to look like, and it places implicit biases, which we'll go over eventually. If you act this way, you're white. If you act this way, you're black. Things that we let slide by. A denial of racism. Having the black friend. I don't know about you guys, but I a lot of times was the black friend that people talked about. Where you're like, well, I have a black friend. That was most likely me. I'm just being honest with you. We're all learning here, right? Confederate flag, mass incarceration, police brutality, hiring discrimination, housing discrimination. It's just a joke. Color blindness. Can we hold off there for a second? Colorblind, meaning that you don't see color. Now, I know this has been pretty big. The last couple weeks is when people are like, I'm not racist. I don't see color. But here's the thing, and I hope I can explain it to you in a way that hopefully we can come to a consensus and an agreement on. Not seeing color is not seeing me. And so if you tell me that you don't see color, then you're telling me you don't see my struggle and you don't see my worries, my fears, my pain. And it's going to be hard for you to have empathy because you're essentially saying you don't see me. And so there's going to be things that I can try to explain to you and it'll just be brushed off as, well, I'm not racist. I don't see color. We need you to see us. We need you to see color. We need to see color because that's what makes us, us. That's what makes us unique. We all come from different cultures. We all come from different backgrounds, you know. I love Italian food. I love Italian food. It is so good. I love meatballs, if I'm being honest. Like real authentic Italian food. It is literally my favorite. Another one is when you hear people say, don't blame me. I've never owned slaves. Like, sure, no. And like I said in my first video, this is not to guilt white people, but we do have to learn about the history. Black history is American history, and understanding and learning who we are, that we're part of this thing too. It's not white guilt, guys. It's not that at all. In order for us to empathize, we have to come to a common ground to say, man, I'm sorry, and I want to stand in the gap for you. I want to stand in a place and use my privileges that I have to stand in the gap for you. Now, I know, I said the word privilege and someone's going to be like, privilege? I don't have privilege. Here's what privilege is. Privilege just means there are things that you don't have to worry about because they just aren't an issue. For instance, my name being Jessica. I've never had to worry about filling out a job application and being denied a job because of my name. I've never had to worry about that. That's never even crossed my mind. I have a twin sister. My twin sister's name is Jerica. We're both the same. I mean, there's nothing different about us. We look the same, but our names are different. But I have the privilege of not being able to worry about my name. And it's the same thing. The one thing that did not hold you back was your skin color. It's not saying that you may have not struggled. It's not saying that you may not have had hard times. It's not saying that you came from a place where you had a silver spoon in your mouth. It's strictly just saying that the one thing holding you back wasn't the color of your skin. That's it. That's it. Some more socially acceptable racism. Denying or deflecting. We're just one big family. There's only one race. It's the human race. Believing that we don't even have racism anymore. Do you know how many people out there truly believe that racism doesn't even exist anymore? Wow. And I don't even mean covert racism. I mean overt racism. I'll have my husband on to talk about it, but there was one time where him and my daughter were in a Burger King drive-thru. They like to have daddy-daughter dates. They were in a Burger King drive-thru sitting there singing The Wiggles. The Wiggles are not threatening. It's The Wiggles. They were singing the Wiggles, and someone decided to walk by him and just call him the N-word out of nowhere. Think about that. There are still people out there that are just overtly racist. And it's unfortunate because I don't want my kids to have the same conversation. I don't want my kids to have to go through this. I don't want my kids to have to experience these things. I don't want to have to explain my kids what the N-word is. I don't want to have to do that. I remember the first time I was called the N-word, and I was 12. And I remember being in a school cafeteria, and this girl that I was in 6th grade, and she was supposed to be my best friend. She called me the N-word. We were best friends in the 5th grade, and all of a sudden now, I wasn't that anymore. And I remember going home being in tears because I had never heard it before. And I was 12, and I still remember being called that. I still remember what it felt like. And I've realized that sometimes people will call you that to remind you of your place. It's not right. And the reality is that we all want to succeed in life. We all want our kids to do better and to be better than where we were. We all want that. We want that for our families. We want that for our kids. We want that for our lives. To have my dad have to explain that to me, it was like I could see the pain and the hurt in his eyes, like, we're going through this again. But I don't want my kids to have to do that. I don't want my kids to have to go through that. I don't want my kids to have to experience that. And yeah, I don't want them to have to have those conversations. I don't want our kids to have those conversations. I don't want our grandkids to have those conversations. And I know I'm speaking for you too when I say that. I know I am, because this is uncomfortable. This is a hard time right now. This is a hard time. But in 6, 7 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, we can't forget these moments. We cannot forget these times, because honestly, I believe that we will come out stronger. We're going to learn. We're going to do better. When we know better, we do better. We're going to be better for it. Thank you so much again for liking and subscribing and being a part of this journey. And you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to where this takes us. I'm so excited to talk with different people and for us to open our minds and our hearts and just to be acceptable and have empathy and understand each other. Love you guys. See ya.